Exactly. I agree with you. It may get me unelected, but. Call to order the council meeting for June 27th. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Place your right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, could you call the roll for the successor agency of the Council on Housing Authority? Any persons wishing to address the council, successor agency, housing authority, any item on today's agenda other than the public hearings may do so at this time. Close public comment. Item 1, CSA 1 and H1.
Warrant register.
Move approval.
Madam Clerk.
Council and agency members Dodson. Padilla. Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Chairman Butts.
Aye. Madam Clerk, what's the next scheduled matter?
Next scheduled matter is a public hearing to consider an ordinance amending the Inglewood Municipal Code to modify parking District Number 4, adding 83rd Street from Victoria Street to Crenshaw Drive to the district.
Has notice of the hearing been given a time, form, and matters required by law, and do you have the affidavit on file?
Notice has been given and affidavit is on file.
Have any communications been received?
No communications have been received.
Is there a staff report? Welcome, Mr. Atwell.
Good afternoon, Mayor and members of the City Council. Staff recommends that a public hearing be conducted to receive input to consider an ordinance amending the Inglewood Municipal Code to modify permit parking District Number 4, adding 83rd Street from Victoria to Crenshaw Drive. Currently, there are 14 permit parking districts in the city. 13 are residential and 1 is commercial. The establishment of a permit parking district is to assure the availability of on-street parking to the adjacent property owners within a defined area where patrons and or employees of a nearby business or industrial facility are otherwise using most, if not all, available on-street parking. Permit parking District Number 4 currently contains the streets of West Boulevard from Manchester to 81st Street, 84th Place from West to 85th Street, and 85th Street from West to 84th Place. Resolution number 17-02, adopted by the Parking and Traffic Commission on April 26, 2017, outlines the additional street, 83rd Street, from Victoria Street to Crenshaw Drive to permit parking District Number 4, and affirms compliance with the requirements of the IMC, Section 3-76. On June 6, 2017, the public hearing was set for June 20th, 2017, to consider the proposed ordinance amending IMC to expand permit parking District Number 4. However, on June 20th, 2017, City Council rescheduled the meeting to today, June 26, 2017. That concludes my report.
Any persons present wish to address the council on this matter? Permit parking district. We'll close public comment. Please, come forward. Mr. Zambrano, please don't play these games. Come on.
I am not playing games. You saw the gentleman trying to get up. Let's not pretend that you are somehow not aware that he was trying to get up. That is playing a game. Whenever you go on to these permit parking districts, it is always a question mark as to whether the community actually does want them. I didn't hear that. I know that last week you had something on here where only 20 people of the 100 and some odd people agreed to it. So I would hope that you have actually gone through and done that. That has not actually been the practice of the past. But observing this man trying to get up and then you're attempting to move on is what made me get up and say, hey, why don't you listen to him? One of you made a comment the other day, someone that waiting 60 seconds for someone to speak was an infringement on your time. Let me remind you, you're making $110,000 a year, the rest of you 60. So surely you can wait 60 seconds for someone to speak.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. My name is Larry Stamps. I'm on 3419 West 83rd Street. I've been going on 39 years. Had permit parking, everything was fine, but for some reason off. No one in the block voted for it to come off. So now we trying to get it back because in order for us to park in front of your house on any day, you got to leave your car there and use something else because the apartment buildings around the corner and up the street, even on Crenshaw Boulevard, they come all the way down and leave their cars up there because they got too many cars and they can't park where they at in the apartment. So they lowered up our street and it's on both sides. I'm hoping that everything go right. We can get this way. At least I can come home and park in front of my house and don't have to park up the street or around the corner.
How do your neighbors feel about this?
Huh?
How do your neighbors feel about this?
Well, fine. We've been after it for the last year and a half.
Sure, it's 75% of the residents, correct, along the street actually vote, and that's how we determine whether or not a permit parking district can be applied.
Actually bother to vote, or is it 75%
No.
of the residents? How do we do that?
75% of the people that live along the street.
Okay, all right, thank you very
You're
much,
welcome.
Mr. Atwell. Is
Move
there any,
motion to waive further reading.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Council members Dodson,
Aye.
Padilla,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Franklin,
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. Madam Clerk, what's the next?
No,
scheduled-
I
Oh, who's
introduce
gonna
the ordinance.
introduce?
I introduce.
Franklin, okay, thank you.
What's the next scheduled matter?
The next scheduled matter is a public hearing to receive comments on the priorities for community development and housing needs for the fiscal year 2017-18 Consolidated Plan and Annual Action Plan.
Has a notice of the hearing been given in the form and manner, time, form, and manner as required by law, and do you have the affidavit on file?
Notice has been given, and affidavit is on file. No communications have been received.
Welcome.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor and council members. I'm here to receive comment from the public on priorities for the community development and housing needs for the fiscal year 2017-18 Consolidated Plan and Annual Action Plan. HUD Title 24 of the Code of Federal Regulations require grant recipients to conduct public hearings to receive input on the use of grant funds. In addition to this public hearing, staff has conducted 6 community meetings throughout the city to provide members of the community an opportunity to contribute input. The list of priorities affect the following 2 funds: Community Development Block Grant for $1,386,743, which is a $37,947 decrease from the prior year. Home Program Funds for $672,045, which is an increase of $47,889 from the prior year. The primary objective of these grant programs is to serve the needs of extremely low to moderate income households in the areas of housing, public services, and public infrastructure. All input from the public and city staff will be incorporated into the final consolidated plan, which will be presented to the mayor and council on July 11th, 2017. This concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. Any persons present wish to address the council on this matter?
Yes, having listened to this report that was very brief, I have to compare it to the ones that we used to get when we were getting $6 million a year, and how then there was at least a map presented before this council so that people who from this audience could then get up and address that. Oh my, not too long ago you said things have changed in 10 years? Absolutely. Failure to receive public input because of staff reports so short because you're willing to run through this in less than time you can imagine.
Veteran, 67. What's going on, people, is that they have created what they call a Privacy Act that disassociates you from data, personal data is all you can get, date you were born.
Mr. Parker, this is about,
These issues that you speak to on this agenda here.
Mr. Parker, this
follow-
is, hold on. This is about housing. If you're gonna have a
Same
general
thing
comment,
with
you're gonna have to
housing
come
and all
back at
this.
the end.
We do not get enough notice, information, detail, or anything, because under the Privacy Act, which you function from the top to the government, you trust us, we'll take care of you. We'll do it for you. And we ask you for information, we can't get it, because if we do it so redact, if you don't know what you're looking for, you, ordinary citizen couldn't figure it out. And you sit here and you pass this crap back and forth between each other, which you cover, and you people don't realize when you sign these contracts, whether it's for a car at Rouse or whatever, you sign, you don't get the full contract that you agree to. You get a cover letter from them. Trust us, this is what you signed and all this, and if you need any additional information, which they have, and they're not gonna give it to you unless you get a lawyer.
Okay,
And if
Mr.
you get the
Parker,
lawyer,
Mr. Parker.
the lawyer is so redacted.
Mr. Parker, this is not about the
So
public
this,
hearing.
it is,
Mi-
because it comes from the federal government down to you. You are collaborators,
Arms.
co-conspirators, and sleepers, screwing the United States of America, its citizens, and violating the Constitution, left and right. And you
Thank you.
all need to be helped.
Mr. Parker, thank you. Okay, close public comment. Any council comment?
Comment.
Councilman Franklin.
First, let me thank Mr. Hargender and staff, because you did give the public notification, not one, but 6 locations on which we could give public input. We seized that moment, as particularly in District 4, and we did a series of email blasts. It was also on the city's website for notification, and those that expressed strong interest was in attendance, and we had a great audience to be able to give our input on this, and I just want to thank you and your staff for doing your due diligence and making sure that information got out. It was much appreciated. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
There's just,
Well, we just
Direction of
we just
staff.
direction staff
All right.
to move forward.
All right.
You have enough, Mr. Argender?
Yes.
Back in July
Consent calendar items 2
through 9.
to 9.
So moved.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
council and agency members, Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla.
Aye.
Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Chairman Buds.
Aye. SPH 1.
Staff report requesting that a public hearing be set to schedule delinquent refuge and sewer accounts for direct property tax assessment.
Staff report.
Or we just setting a public hearing?
This is only just set a public hearing.
Number 4.
Setting it.
But there's 1, 2, and 3.
And 4.
4. Okay, well, can you just give us briefly a
Sure.
brief talk about this?
Sure. This is to adopt a resolution of intent to adopt the report from the Public Works Director concerning delinquent charges for sewer and refuse collection services, and to set a public hearing for July 25th, 2017 at 2 o'clock. This is also to adopt a resolution to elect to then place delinquent sewer service on the tax rolls, and to adopt a resolution to elect the placement of these delinquent refuse collection charges on the tax rolls.
Okay, move 1 through 4.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Council members, Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla. Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. SPH 2.
Staff report requesting a public hearing be set to initiate proceedings for the annual levy and collection of assessments for the Morningside Park Maintenance Assessment District Number 1974-2.
Can you go ahead and read SPH 3 and
And
4
all the way down, sure.
and 5?
Yes. Staff report requesting that a public hearing be set to initiate proceedings to the annual levy and collection of assessments for the in-town maintenance assessment district 1975-1. And staff report requesting that a public hearing be set to initiate proceedings for the annual levy and collection of assessments for Inglewood Street Lighting Assessment District number 1980-1. SPH 5 is staff report requesting that a public hearing be set to initiate proceedings for the annual levy and collection of assessments for Darby Dixon Maintenance Assessment District number 1987-1.
And I will move adoption of 1 and 2 as to SPH 2, SPH 3, SPH 4, and SPH 5.
Second.
Madam Clerk.
Council and agency members, Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla. Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye.
And I just realized we have
You
to
have to
actually
add-
add the resolution to set the hearing, right?
So you have to add three.
Add.
Three.
Move adoption number 3 as to SPH 2, SPH 3, SPH 4, and SPH 5.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Council members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla. Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. And we missed 3 on SPH 1.
So moved.
Second.
Council members Dodson.
Aye.
Padilla. Morales.
Aye.
Franklin.
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye. And so for SPH 1, we'll set the public hearing for protest on July 25th at 2 p.m. For SPH 2, July 11th at 2 p.m. For SPH 3, July 11th at 2 p.m. For SPH 4, July 11th at 2 p.m. And for SPH 5, July 11th
July 12.
July 12th.
July 11th
Oh, okay.
at 2 p.m. All right, A1.
Negotiations. The labor negotiator for the city of Inglewood is Jose Cortez, the human resource director. The agency, the organizations were the Inglewood Police Officers Association and the Inglewood Police Management Association. As to those two matters, the discussion was held with the city council and the mayor and direction given to staff. As to A2, there's no other oral reports from the city attorney's office.
Thank you. CI1.
Initiative by Councilmember Dodson requesting city sponsorship of the second annual Family Day Taste of Inglewood Festival to be held on Sunday, July 30th, 2017, from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. at Edward Vinson Park.
Move approval.
Second.
Madam Clerk?
Council members Dodson,
Aye.
Padilla, Morales,
Aye.
Franklin,
Aye.
Mayor Buds.
Aye.
Aye. Public comments. Any persons wishing to address the council on any matter collected with city business not elsewhere considered may do so at this time. 1 minute.
667. My phone number is 323-842-3363. My post office box, P.O. Box 86, Inglewood, California, 90308. What I spoke to piggyback on the earlier time I just spoke this afternoon, they are trashing your records, ladies and gentlemen. What they have created is a Privacy Act along with everything else they could. And what they've done is they have created a concentration camp of all your information. The only thing required of you is everywhere you go, you notice we can give you a car, we can do this here, just fill out this here and all that. All you're doing is updating what the trash that they've already have in their records, which you never see. Because the United States Army, President of the country, they have created a data mining concentration camp, similar to Hitler's stuff, but it's your paperwork. You can't get it unless you have a lawyer. And how many can afford a lawyer? And if the lawyer gets it, it's redact the hell out of. And so that's what's going on, ladies and gentlemen. Now, also,
Mr. Parker, you're at
for
time.
you,
Mr. Parker, you're at time.
We need a written copy, at least one.
Mr. Parker, you're at time.
Here again today to talk about Keisha Michael and Mark Quinton Sandlin. Their families still do not know anything about what happened to them. Have videos that can be released. You have reports that can be and should be released. You should be setting up a reimbursement fund for the 7 children who have been missing their parents for almost a year and a half now. You sat here last week patting yourselves on the back about a wonderful city this is. This is a festering disease underneath it all. You are inviting people into this city to be killed by your police officers. You are inviting them in to be abused by police officers. Your police department is out of control, and you need to start dealing with it because it's all going to become public very soon, and then you'll have a big public presence.
I would like to read some excerpts from the National Institutes of Health website, which is nih.gov. I'm quoting Children and adolescents are especially vulnerable to psychological problems after the death of a parent or sibling. It's generally agreed that an anticipated death is easier for children to cope with than sudden loss because it provides an opportunity to prepare, at least cognitively. In the case of a sudden death, a surviving parent can acknowledge a child's observations and clarify misperceptions. Specific facts may be added as the child is able to integrate them. As is true for adults, it is generally agreed that knowledge helps provide a sense of security in disturbing situations or crises. Feelings of helplessness increase with ignorance of the facts. Again, feelings of helplessness increase with ignorance of the facts. Provide the facts, provide the information to the families and children of Keisha Michael and Marquinton Sandlin.
Mayor, City Council, and staff. Just want to on a positive note. First, for everybody that's in our armed forces and or formerly, last Thursday was a good day. The president kept his word. Signed those whistleblower laws into effect so that our veterans are finally going to get some relief and some justice. That I'll go on to parking permits. I think that's going to become an issue that's going to be citywide. It's coming. I hope we'll be proactive. The other thing is that somebody just stood up and talked about how the police are out of control. They don't know Inglewood. Go back about 20 years or thereabouts when we had serious issues. Someone that the mayor knows came in and made reforms. No, how dare you insult this city like that? I take umbrage to it. Have a nice day.
Ma'am, whoever's back there talking, please stop. No one talks while you're talking. Please stop. Thank you, sir. Go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, and staff. My name is Stuart Bailey. I live in the 3rd District. Now, the city has been going through quite a bit of controversy lately. We have a black eye. We've got rid of 5 officers for this shooting that we, as a city, have to go through. We all suffered in this occasion. So what I propose is we always say we're going to reform our police department. We can train them, and we're still going to get the same results. But as a result, we need to give the citizens up here their voices back. We need to go back to evening meetings, and we also need to give the citizens their 3 minutes because we're all.
Good afternoon, Aldine Sly, 1st District. I want to go on record to say on the citizens who don't necessarily agree with the complete council and how they're treated. Personally affecting me because a very good friend of mine arrested right after he left this council meeting back. I don't understand what the details were, but knowing him from childhood, whatever charges have been brought against him are false. I'll go on record saying that. They're false. And since we have no independent thinkers on the council, because everybody seems to want to go along with 5 of you, it's very disappointing because we need dialogue, we need diversity in thought, but we get none of that from this council. Haven't in quite a long time. So,
Thank you, Ms. Sloan.
Wishful thinking, I hope that changes.
I'm a Regent Circle resident, and I'm here today because I'm looking for an answer to a code enforcement issue I have filed back in September of last year. I have an illegal studio next door to me. It was, the neighbors had an administrative hearing in March. The hearing officer determined that the studio was illegal, and I'm trying to understand what is the next step? When is that studio going to be shut down? How long does it take to shut it down? Because I am constantly being disturbed. My sleep is being disturbed. I either can't go to sleep because they're starting early in the day, or they may start at 10 or 11 at night. One day last week, I got about 2 hours of sleep because that kid was back there with that studio. And have any of you ever been sitting at an intersection and you hear the thumping of a car and the car is 4 or 5 blocks away? The vibration is what I'm hearing in my home and in my bedroom. And I can't stand it anymore because it's just too disruptive to me in my sleep and my rest. I can't function at work.
And what's your name?
Wallace.
Ms. Wallace,
Yes.
so when this happens, have you called the police department?
I have been calling Inglewood. I'm the one you guys probably already know since. This has been since 2000. This problem started in 2015,
Okay.
August of 2015. I tried to work with the mother there. I
Right.
started calling Inglewood PD October of 2015, and I got code enforcement involved in, I believe, October of 2016. So I've been dealing with this for a very long time. Code enforcement has only been involved the last few months. Mr. Jackson is aware of the problem. I don't know why they're not telling me anything. That's my frustration.
So, Ms. Wallace, is Mr. Jackson here?
Yes, he is.
He sure is. So, Mr. Jackson, when we're done today, why don't you just give me a quick briefing, all right? And we'll
I appreciate that.
all
It's
right.
just that I'm not sleeping. Everybody here, including Mr. Jackson, is sleeping every night.
No,
And
I
my
don't-
habit,
I don't
my habit
sleep
has
either.
been when I hear the thumping
I
and I
don't sleep
lose my
either.
sleep, I'm emailing him and they think I'm being annoying. But
Mi-
2
Miss-
years, I appreciate it. Pardon me?
So, Ms. Wallace, if you would give Mr. Esparza your name and phone number.
I gave him,
He
Mr.
does?
Fields, my name and phone number last week.
Okay, well, hold
and he
on, Ms.
promised
Wallace.
to-
Let us
It's
please
my
let
sleep.
us
It's my
let
sleep. That's
let
all it
us
is.
try
I'm
to help,
sorry.
Ms. Wallace. I get it. I get it.
Thank you.
All right. All right. So
appreciate it.
someone will be in touch. Thank you.
Elijah Woodson, I'll be brief. This is a letter for Dotson. It just has to do with the 4th of July ongoing between 9th and 12th Avenue. They start setting up 4 p.m. from 8 p.m. to about 2 to 4 in the morning. We've got a lot of seniors over there, 90th and 12th Avenue. We talked about that, and then some more seniors are concerned how they will be impacted by the new Clippers. So is it okay? Can I give you this letter that we talked about last week so we can?
You can. They'll be impacted by about $8 million more a year in taxes.
They don't know. These are seniors. We talking about
I got it. I got it.
safety and parking and all
I got
that.
it.
We're not talking about the money.
Got it.
Because the school
All right.
district needs the money.
My name is Willie A.G., and I live in the beautiful city of Inglewood with a concern. Really concerned about rules of decorum here in this city. I've been here for 18 years. I see now people.
You didn't start it over. Go ahead, Mr. Agee.
I see now people passing out literature on the 9th floor of the chamber. I hear people come up here and demean this Congress, the Senate, not Senate, the council, the mayor and the council, staff. And just, downplay you. One fellow gets up here and downplay the United States military.
Mr. Parker,
and
don't do that again.
I'm a combat veteran. I'm not a conscientious objector.
Okay, remove him now.
I'm proud of our military. I support them 100%. And anytime the policemen come up on a party parked in the middle of the street at 3 o'clock in the morning, it's time for them to take action with a weapon.
We're at time, Mr. Agee.
On the seat. It's time for them to take action.
Mr. Agee, we're at time.
Believe me. Thank you very much.
Council members, my name is Diane Sembrano, and I too am worried about the rules of decorum and their inequitable enforcement. You didn't even start the time when this man got up to speak, and yet you shut down a young man who hadn't even finished his 1 minute. And at that meeting, you brought 8 police officers in, but you made sure you turned the camera off. You rule by intimidation because of your narcissistic personality, and then you call someone else a narcissist.
It's narcissistic.
Yes, it is. You should know. I'm sure you've been diagnosed often. I would appreciate it if we would go ahead and submit our payroll information to John Chang and Transparent California. You are 6 months late.
Thank you. With that, we'll close public comment. Or is there any? Oh, go ahead, Mr. Wilder, please.
Well, I'm Wild Bill, and I grew up here in Inglewood, and we got the 4th of July coming, and don't have the Centinela Park anymore with all the fireworks, so what's going to be the results of that is going to be what it's been for every year coming up to now, is everybody on the streets got the fireworks that have like at Centinela Park, you know. They don't do anything about them. They block the streets off. The Nectarine, for instance, is blocked off between Eucalyptus and Avenue, and they've got all kinds of fireworks over there, and started fires. In fact, they burned down an apartment building they were starting to build over there. They had to tear it back out and redo it. You know, they need a little more enforcement on the streets on the 4th of July. Not only they talk about firecracker blow the fingers off and all that stuff, you know, they got some of those big things that are blowing too, you know, so they need to be on the ball about that and do something about it this year.
Thank you, Mr. Wilder.
Good afternoon, Council, Mayor, staff. Eric Holly, Inglewood Chamber. You know, it's amazing. Inglewood is not just a wonderful city, it's a great city. With all the things that are coming here, you would think that people would be happy that the city has finally started to turn around where we were on the verge of bankruptcy. So again, I've said it before, if you're so unhappy in this city and with the way that things are running, where we have things coming here positive, leave the city. No one's holding you here. No one's making you stay here. If you own property, sell it. You'll sell it for a profit now anyway. If you're renting here, just move. There's no one keeping you here. And for the other group, I'm not sure why you're still coming here. We've said several times, LA is where you need to go to find out the information. It's not Inglewood. Go to LA to get whatever you need, and that'll be it. Otherwise, you're here for a reason. So is it to cause problems for what we have going on, or is it you getting something out of it?
It's shocking that you guys haven't been sued by the ACLU yet. The inequity in how you deal with speakers that you disagree with is ridiculous. You let this gentleman go 10 seconds past his time, but cut off another woman who was speaking like a moment after it hit 0. You, after just a couple of words, admonished Dr. Dumont, and yet these two gentlemen were sitting here through the entire agenda, every agenda items that you were doing, they were sitting here talking to one another. I was sitting right next to them, so I heard them. You didn't once address the fact that they were speaking to one another or that they were speaking over you like you're doing to me right now. But as anyone who disagrees with you or this council is treated very differently than people who agree with you. You should be ashamed of yourself. That's not democracy.
Thank you. That will close public comment. Council comment, Councilman Dotson.
Well, I'd like to thank this mayor and this council for passing my item so that we can do this great family day in the park on July the 30th. As I mentioned that, please mark your calendars for July 30th. We will be having a family day in the park with a taste of Inglewood. It's going to be a wonderful event. It'll start at 1 o'clock. It'll be over at 6. It's at Vincent Park. That's 700 Warren Lane, Inglewood, California. You really want to have a great day, bring your family, and come out. I want to say, I don't know how to say this, but let's keep in mind that this body is the sacred body in Inglewood. We make the decisions for this city, and we don't take that lightly. I mean, I'm a 40-year-plus resident here. So I've participated here as a block club captain, as chairman of the planning commission, as on the park and traffic commission. So when you say that we are not involved in the citizens, it's not true. I go to either 3 or 4 meetings a month, other than this one, at night, when I should be home with my family. So, and I'm sure the other council members are doing the same thing. We take our job seriously, and we make our decisions that way as well. And I don't even want to start talking about the mayor, because what he does is unbelievable. If you had to do what he did in one day, you'd quit the next. So, you know, keep in mind when you make these statements that you're talking to people who have been here a while. We know what's going on. I was here when the city was 40 years ago, and I was here when it had its downturn, and now we're on our way back up. Actually, we're already there. We're finna go past that. So I'm just grateful to be living in this city, and I'm elated to be part of this council, because this, as far as I'm concerned, in Inglewood, is the one place in the United States of America you want to be. So with that, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to ask you to close this meeting for a dear friend of mine and one of the original Block Club members for the 4th Avenue Block Club, which is now the, I can't even think. But anyway, the man's name is Alvance Johnson Sr. He's a 42-year resident here in the city of Inglewood. With that, thank you all for coming out, and we'll see you next week.
Councilman Padilla, District 2.
Mayor, you know, I think it's interesting that we can do so many dynamic, and I use that word dynamic, shifts in a city that just 5 years ago, folks wasn't even on the radar. You know, now we're on the map for all the right reasons, all the positive reasons, but somebody from outside the city is going to come in here and thrash or try to disrespect our police department and say that folks are coming into our city to get killed. That's, you know, very, very disappointing. We have police officers on this department that put their life on the line every day, that are out there serving the public in so many different roles, from helping a lost child to helping somebody in distress, and just providing goodwill, being ambassadors. And I say the same thing for our fire department, our public safety folks. We have a very good, an outstanding police department that do very good work. And I got to tell you, I support our chief and our men and women in law enforcement and our fire department 100%. They're out there risking it on every call, every single day. I just, you know, very disappointing when somebody comes up here that is supposedly intelligent, come up here and make a comment like that. Very disheartening, disappointing. You need to do some soul searching. Somebody else comes up and talks about
this body not being independent thinkers and diverse and thought, bless you.
Bless you.
Thoughtful or independent thinkers, whatever their comments were. You've got a mayor and a council that work hard every day and do their homework. They're engaged in this community. They're engaged with city staff. City staff is engaged with the mayor and the council so that we can move this city forward. And for somebody to say, oh, you guys are just, yes, 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 like that's something bad, that we agree to move this city forward for all the right reasons. But we're going to continue to move this city forward. We're going to continue to make Inglewood the place to be. That's where we're headed. We're going to keep bringing positive energy to this community. So with that, I want to thank you for coming out and enjoy the rest of your week.
Thank you, Councilman Franklin, District 4.
Yes, in lieu of being redundant to my colleagues, I just echo those sentiments. And then, Mayor, my final comment is that I request that you appoint someone I've requested for to serve on a commission. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Councilman Morales, District 3.
Start by just saying how much we all support the police department. I can't tell you how good a work they do. And we're extremely supportive of the chief and his staff. But what's interesting to me is when how someone may view the city by one visit to our meetings here, kind of listen and see kind of the dynamic of the way the meeting is being held, and try to define who we are by that. We won't allow it. There's a thing about, so let me kind of share the fact that we are an extremely proud city. We're an extremely diverse city made up of folks from every background you can imagine. And what cities like us, what happens is people try to define who we are. And we need to know who we are, so that we can move on and have the courage to make the decisions that you've seen this council make in the last 4 or 5 years that have put a tremendous mark on who we're going to be in the next 5 years. And no matter what anybody says, no matter how they view 30 minutes of our meeting, we are that great city that we're all proud of. And I can't tell you, the one good thing that I tell the guys all the time, I know what comments we hear here, and they're very welcome. Every single criticism, we take it, we listen to it. What it gives us is the opportunity to, in retrospect, look at ourselves and really share with you who we think we are. And I'm very proud of who we are as a city and how we deal with what we have. Thank you for the opportunity to share that. And everyone have a happy and safe 4th of July.
I really want to piggyback on what the councilmen have said before me. I spent 37 years in law enforcement. I ran 3 police departments, and bad things happen due to the nature of the work. And what defines a police department is how you train your people, the culture that you set, and how you respond to major incidents. This department has done an outstanding job of doing that. But for someone who doesn't live here to come in and say that people that come into Inglewood risk being murdered by the police, well, now I'm beginning to think that you do have an agenda, because that's an outrageous statement. If you look at what's going on across this country, that you would take a snapshot in this administration's history and try to make it emblematic of what we are, when obviously steps have been taken to address things on a number of fronts. And so I'll have to tell you, you don't live here and you won't define us. You're not better than we are, and that's what you behave as. We're intelligent people here. We're very moral proud people. And you won't define us like that at all. And I'm going to remind people what's happened here in the last 6 years. We've paved more streets, resurfaced more linear feet of sidewalk in the last 3 years than we have in the prior 15 years combined. We went from a terrible bond rating to AA bond rating as of this year. We reopened the Forum, dead for a long time, #1 concert venue in the state of California, #2 in the country, #4 in the world. We attracted the NFL January 2016. Rams committed here and the NFL committed here. January of 2017, the Chargers followed them. June 15th of this year, the Clippers said they want to negotiate to see if they can come here. We have a $27 million senior center promised to people for over 10 years that will be open in November. We have Century Boulevard, an over $35 to $40 million construction project by the time it's done that people waited for patiently. That will be finished by 2019. We'll have a Super Bowl in Inglewood in 2021, and no, people aren't afraid to come here. And if the Olympics are awarded to Los Angeles, Inglewood will host the opening ceremonies and closing ceremonies in 2024. And if things goes according to plan, possibly the Clippers will join us in 2024 as well. That is not the track record of a city that's not well run and doesn't care about its citizens. Crime is at its lowest level in recorded history. We've had 6 consecutive years of the lowest recorded levels of crime on record. So you can go to most dynamic cities and you can find tragedies, but you'll find very few that deal with them as effectively as the city of Inglewood and Chief Fronterada has with the police department. I want to nominate Rita L. Burnett to the, Councilman Franklin nominates Rita L. Burnett to the Aviation Commission. And
I concur.
And I appoint.
I move concurrence.
Second. Madam Clerk.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And we will close the meeting in the memory of Albanese Al Johnson Sr., a 42 resident of Inglewood. We're adjourned.